Hello, everybody. This is Trevor Truck, ASMR, and welcome to Star Wars Battlefront II. This is a legacy title. This is not the most current iteration of the Battlefront series. This is the real legit Battlefront 2. A game that, as a child, I was so excited to play. You'll notice that there are no enemy troops, and there are no ally troops. That's because I turned them off. And, as the title of the video will tell you, we're not going to be fighting. We're just going to be exploring the maps. So the first one that we're going to take a look at is Polis Massa, which is a map that I absolutely love, and I remember playing it back in the day. This is one of my favorite maps. But we're going to talk about what makes it so good, and we're just going to examine the map and walk around, and this is just going to be a really casual ASMR. It's not too much to it, to be honest with you, but it's going to be very casual. So you could get into a vehicle, and this is what the outdoors look like. Now you notice this is the entirety of the base. Okay, so there's a long hallway that brings you to the main computer/server room with a big ol' satellite on top. Now you'll notice that there is a layer of fog around the area. First of all, I think the skybox is kind of cool. I love having like a night sky with dashes of purple in it. But there's a little bit of a fog going on here. So we're not going to spend too much time out here, but I did want to at least make a note that basically this place here is poisonous. So if you were to step out of your vehicle, it would be bad news for you. Anyway, let's explore the rest of this level. We're going to head right back in here. Okay, perfect. And I'm playing as an engineer, and I have the engineer's repair tool equipped because it takes up a lot less of the screen, so it won't be in the way too badly. So anyway, this is some type of space base. You're not exactly going to get like homey vibes from this place, you know. This isn't going to be in the Better Homes and Gardens magazine or whatever you call it. But for a space base, this is about everything that you would expect, right? This is like peak 2005 space. And if you listen closely, you can hear a low hum. You can hear beeps and bops. My friends, the thesis of this video is that without other players, without any of the action going on, these maps are nothing more than liminal spaces. So as you can see here, we have another base. Now look at this place. We have what we like to call an ammo droid. These things are kind of funny looking, aren't they? Then we also have a health droid. Okay, so as an engineer, I would have the ability to repair these two droids. And then right here, who knows what this room is or what it's supposed to be? What I see is storage. And the interesting thing about this is that these items are actually not on the ground. So as I walk by them, you could tell they're floating off the ground. But if you're far away, you might fall for the illusion that they're actually touching the floor. This is something that you're going to see a lot in games. I've seen it many times. But if you look right here, you can see this little box is clipping into the ground. This one is definitely clipped, for sure. And these are the most interesting looking barrels that I've ever seen. It looks like you almost need a code to unlock them. These barrels contain root beer. That is canonically correct, I'm pretty sure. Now if you go a little bit further up, so it's interesting because they built the base into what is essentially a cave system. So we got a huge door area over there. We have got a little bit of a walkway, I assume, with a good view of the base. And this helps us. So basically, this is another command post that can be captured. But just to give you an idea of where we're at, we're here. Now, I gotta be careful because, gosh, that sounds terrible. Let me, there we go. I'm gonna give myself some health there for stepping out. Alright. So this is basically our side when we get to the battle. And what we have here is more storage. I don't know what they're storing here. Barrels are full of root beer. The boxes probably have some odds and ends, some miscellaneous things, maybe some potato chips or something. And we're gonna go make our way back because we want to see the rest of this base. To me, this isn't even the most impressive part of the base, although I do like it. It's very spacey. It's also very bleak. And I think all the negative space, all the wide open parts of this area, I mean, it gives you sort of that liminal feel. And that's really my whole argument. Like, this is definitely what I would call a liminal space. You'll notice this place, of course, has sort of like a viewport here where you can see the poisonous fog. I don't know the lore behind the poison. I'll have to read up on Polis Massa. I also like the fact, see, I'm really digging this carpet, or this floor. I don't know if it's a carpet, but it's almost like that material. But the best part is the floating table, I think. I would imagine that this is where they would have, like, meetings about things. Alright, so we're going to take a look up here now. And once again, we find ourselves in a room where there's a lot of computer and server noises. We got a little bit of a viewport that gives us a view of this room here. And actually, up here, we have some sort of bright light that reflects off the window right there. But basically, this is just a series of mazes that lead from one area to the next. But it's not really, at the end of the day, it's not really a huge map. It's kind of small. Up here is probably a great place to hide. And we got ourselves a computer system, so actually, we have two entryways and exits. If you were up here, you might be able to see your enemies down below, although it might be a little bit hard because the windows are definitely a little bit frosted. You know, they haven't bothered to clean the place in a very, very long time. But right here is some sort of control/command center. So it's always nice to see those small touches. There's really not much up here, but I have to say, it's actually, as minimal as it is, it's actually a really nice room. Okay, let's continue our exploration of the base because there's a part of this level that I really love, and I think we're getting close to it. You'll notice at this part they put the command post right on the table, and you can't really see the symbol for the Republic. It just clips through the light. Okay. Now, we get two walkways where oftentimes the battle starts to get split apart, right? So a lot of battles take place in these walkways, And it's actually kind of dangerous because if you throw a grenade and if you have team attack on, it could be a problem for everybody. This right here is the enemy command post. We can capture it just for fun. It does take a long time to capture it if you're by yourself.
Republic is in control of a command post. Enemy reinforcements are decreasing.
Okay, so now we have more command posts than the enemy, and essentially now we're kind of on a timer at this point. But I just wanted to take a little while to examine this area here. You can see they have a display, a large display that features some blueprints. Who the hell knows what any of this actually means, but I think this is really cool. It's things like these that really add to the atmosphere. You also have a droid, at least I assume that's a droid, so very cool design. You got a little control panel with some very uncomfortable looking seats, not gonna lie. The windows are really dirty too, and I have to assume it's from the fog that's outside. But look at this. See, this one is even more transparent. And I think that's a really nice design. There's even... yeah, actually, there's more of a glow to this one than the original one over here. It looks like we might have some lights or speakers up there. And you have the ability to go to this center spot. And this is where you're going to hear this noise. And you can see there's a little bit of a holograph. It's actually really, like it's very translucent. Then you see some planets, and I see also, and I don't know what these represent, but there's like diamonds floating up there. But it's a very cool look. Again, it just adds to the lore. And I don't know what the heck it all means, you know, at the end of the day, who knows? Now here's one detail that I never even paid attention to. It looks like we have a very deep hole, and I never knew about that actually. I wonder what that's all about. So this middle section here is actually suspended in midair. Here's another fun fact. On this middle section, there's 2 enemy bases. I'm not going to waste my time capturing that because there's not really a battle going on. So anyway, this map is Polis Massa. I very much enjoy it. I think it's a great map. And obviously, you know, the textures are not high. This is because, you know, this is a pretty old game. This came out like either... I think 2005 would be the year that this came out. This was kind of in coordination with Star Wars Episode 3, which I know came out in 2005. There is this sort of underground base here, and I don't know what kind of tile this is, but it kind of gives me like a little bit of a lava rock type of thing. Like it's really dark and dank. Oh, and as you can see, there is a stairway. Now, I don't know exactly what that stairway leads into, but it's interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't really tell. But we have an underground hallway here, and this is going to lead to this room. And this, as you can see, this is kind of like a hangar bay. I don't know what exactly can land down here, but... we have more of those storage boxes, we got more droids, we have this large claw structure, so I can only imagine what goes on here, but we have this sort of wall of computers and cards and crap like that we can kind of see there. So this is like, I don't know, like I think this seems kind of like a place where they would work on cargo ships, stuff like that. It's actually really cool. I love kind of the thought and the care that they put into a world such as this. And this room, as large as it is, it will lead into another hangar bay where you can get into a ship. And then if you want to take the battle to the enemy team, you just get in this thing right here, right? And what you're going to do is you just drive to this other location. Simple as that. And here we are. This leads us back to where the clones spawn. I never really noticed that before, but you can kind of see this is like a copy and pasted JPEG with different shades of blue and green. I think that's kind of cool. It looks actually really detailed the more I look at it. So everybody, I think we've explored all we can of Polis Massa. A great, absolutely outstanding map. Apparently my vehicle just exploded, and I don't know why. I guess maybe I parked it incorrectly. But anyway, okay. That was Polis Massa. Let's take a moment to explore another one. Alright everybody. This is the next map that we're going to take some time to explore. Now we are at Jabba's palace, which before this game even launched, I was aware that this was going to be one of the maps, and I couldn't tell you how excited I was, because this map comes straight out of the movie, where, you know, Jabba kidnaps Princess Leia, and then there's this whole rescue attempt to save her. This is a very famous part of the movie. And as you can see, Jabba's palace is actually in the desert. And what we're hearing right now in the background is the wind. And I never noticed this before, but if you look up top, you can clearly tell we're underground and it's daytime in the desert. It's an interesting little detail that I never really paid that much attention to in the past. So as we continue to explore, we'll have small little cells, I guess, repair droids. Got some little tiny light fixtures over here, and you can look at the floor. You see it's cobblestone. We also have some sort of water, maybe a sewer system. I'm not entirely sure, but basically we have ourselves some metallic beehive grates. Now right here is kind of a secret area, so you could actually just sneak over from one room to the next. There are in fact a lot of tunnels, a lot of different areas that you can go to, and you might end up getting lost in a level such as this. But the one thing you notice right off the bat about Jabba's palace is that it's dank. Like, it's nasty. It's not a place that you would go to for vacation, right? And you can see there's a lot of stuff going on here. I feel sorry for this droid, because obviously something went very, very wrong. It's interesting. They have a little bit of a net structure above us. I don't know why that is. Also, oh. We have some major pipe systems going on down here, too. I don't think I've ever really paid attention to that before. Alright, this place is still looking really nasty, by the way. Like, the walls look moldy, and it definitely seems like this would be the type of place where it would smell really bad. Now, you probably just heard a roar just then, and that roar is the monster that's down below here, so you do not want to fall into the trap or that monster is going to kill you. And here's the thing, okay? If you dare to try to attack Jabba the Hutt, well, here's the thing. You might just end up standing right in front of him. I can play as Luke. Okay, I want to play as Luke. I think it's base number 4.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah, okay. So, essentially, if you stand over this trap, you're going to fall down, and then you will be faced with the monster. So, let's just do this for fun. There's the monster. So this, what is this called again? I forget what this thing is called. Anyway, the truth of the matter is, this thing is really easy to escape. It doesn't have that much mobility. You can stand next to it, but if you're not careful, you will be met with a terrible fate. You don't want to get eaten by that type of thing. So yeah, it's really not too bad. Now, this is the main part of Jabba's palace, and if you've watched the movie, of course you know it. They got the little, they don't have the little alien playing the instrument in here. All we have is Jabba himself, and actually I think they did a really good job with the Jabba model. It looks really convincing. Princess Leia is not there. I guess the connotation is that we've already rescued her, and we're just deciding to have a war in here. And is it weird that the Empire and Rebellion are fighting in Jabba's palace? Yes. It has no actual, like, connotation in the canon, but whatever. Whatever, I don't care. So this is an interesting detail here. I never even really noticed this before, but isn't this the creature that's on Hoth? I almost think that it is, yeah. The Rancor, that's what it's called. The Rancor is really loud. And over here we have a very sad image. This is Han Solo, frozen in carbonite. It's interesting to note that Han Solo is here, but Leia is not. So it's really hard to tell at what point all of this stuff happens, because the sequence of events is kind of weird. But I do think that this is a very haunting reminder of just how evil Jabba really is. But this place is just, it's nasty. You also have steam that's pumping out of the metal grates, and it just gives you the impression that this place is hot and humid and sticky. Furthermore, we walk into this place here, and this looks like a place where, I don't know, maybe they keep some cattle here. But it looks like it's also like bunk beds, so some of Jabba's most trusted people sleep in this place. And again, it looks dirty, it looks nasty, and to be honest with you, that's the entire point. This place is supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. And you see this weapon here? This is futuristic, but also very archaic. Jabba's guards carry these weapons, and it's interesting to note that they're not spawning, but they definitely add a little pizzazz to the battle, because Jabba's guards don't really work for one side or the other, I don't think. They attack everyone, but they're not spawning here, so that's actually a good thing. Now you notice on these arches, there's some type of language. And I don't really know. Not sure what that means. Okay. Now over here we got some windows, so we can actually see the outside world, which is kind of nice. We have some steam blowing. Kind of gives the impression that this place is barely holding on, you know? And you can go into these different chambers here, and again, these are more live-in quarters, but as you can see, the walls are very dirty, it's very dark and dim. There's only a very pale light that's shining in each of the rooms. Got more pipes running against the walls, and there's no way anyone could actually sleep there. It'd be so uncomfortable. But all these rooms are, for the most part, the same. We got more weapons. I suppose this could possibly be the place where Jabba's guards rest while they're not trying to, you know, hit people with their weapons. Could be a possibility. And overall, we just have a lot of steam. A lot of steam pumping out through the floor. It's a very unusual type of circumstance. I remember having some really intense battles in this very room. It's a highly contested command post. You can hear the Rancor too from this area. Okay, so we just got some rooms, and these look to be like extra storage areas. Now what's interesting is you could actually come into this place right here, and this is a pretty good vantage point if you wanted to get the edge, you know, if you wanted to defeat your enemies a little easier. Now this is interesting because this is like a really long extended room. Multiple doors. Okay, so we have more steam. I believe those stairs will eventually lead back to Jabba's main palace. I think there's one more thing that I want to point out. So, if you were to fall down here, you would just avoid the monster. And actually, if you were sneaky enough, which, let's be real, it doesn't take much, you could come into this room and heal up for a little bit. Then what you do is you would escape through this door, and ta-da, you are safe. So yes, this is Jabba's palace in all its glory. I think this is also one of my favorite maps. It's very interesting, and there's a lot of minute details that you might pass by in the heat of war, but consider me a fan. Alright everyone, so this is our third and final map. Now you'll notice right away, let's first take a look at the skybox. This planet is called Mustafar, and this is where Anakin and Obi-Wan had their epic fight, where Obi-Wan famously said, "I have the high ground," in Star Wars Episode 3. Now you'll notice that this is a very lava-ish planet. So we have ourselves glowing lava down there. We have lava waterfalls. It would appear that we are in the middle of some sort of crater. But you can tell, looking at the skybox, you know, it's giving you that Death Mountain vibe from Ocarina of Time. There's some fireballs. You'll notice all the particles that are floating around, and they kind of look like fireflies from a distance. And then, of course, we have the skybox, which I think is really awesome for this place. It's really dark. It's really scary. It's kind of foreboding. There's every indication that no human should be at a place like this. And there are some machines that are spinning around. I have no idea what the purpose of these machines are. Maybe someone who is more invested in Star Wars lore could kind of explain that to me, because I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, we have a few things here that we want to pay attention to. So we got this nice little window. It's a little bit more calm in here, but this game makes a lot of use of the color gray. You know, there's a lot of dark gray, different shades of gray. Definitely not 50 Shades of Grey. That's something completely different. But this game is nothing but contrast in colors, because you got the bright lava, the reds and oranges. Compare it with the more clinical gray that you see around here. But I will say, I love the little blue light accents. I just think it's good level design. I mean, this looks amazing. And again, it gives you something to really focus on and put your eyes on. And the actual floor, too, kind of looks like cement a little bit, but at the very least, even if they are just different shades of gray, at least they add a little bit of variation with the patterns and designs. You'll notice that these steps actually have little LED strips of light on them, which is cool. So if we go a little bit further, we kind of have this little pavilion right here. And again, a great many battles were had at a place like this. And, you know, it's one of those things of don't look down. But if you do happen to look down, you'll see lava just flowing through at a very slow pace. And if you wanted to, you could actually go further. Now see, this feels dangerous. This part feels a little bit unauthorized, if you know what I mean. Like, there's nothing that prevents you from falling into the lava at this point. Also, you'll notice that the camera is shaken. So there's definitely some seismic activity going on along with the explosions from the volcano. Quite frankly, this is a pretty good place to hide, actually. You know, you'd kind of blend in. You would be unassuming over here. So let's get back on track. And this right here, you can tell this is kind of like a main base. This is a command post. Oh, I remember this part of the map. So speaking of the high ground, a lot of times I'd be fighting enemies right here at the bottom, and I'd probably lose more than half the time. You probably do get a real advantage with the high ground, but this place just gives you this, like, this whole sort of wasteland type of vibe. Because it's weird, the structures are geometrical, you know, they're sharp, they don't look friendly, very clinical, very much without character, and yet you see these little accents that let you know that at least somebody had some sense of design. And it's possible I'm just looking into it too much, but I really don't care. I think this is fun. Now, what's interesting is that in this map, the windows open up. So you could stand right here and you could start shooting enemies at this base. So we'll go into this base and you'll see we have some computers, some control centers. Again, the floor is keeping up with a certain pattern. Through here, you get this very nice and neat type of hallway. I actually like it. Looks really nice. This is not the type of place that I would consider cozy, but here's one thing to note. So there's some type of steam that's coming out of here. If you step on it, well, whoops. Okay. That was definitely my bad. I jumped a little bit too high, you know. I forgot that the gravity is a little bit different on this planet. That's okay. This is also another spawn point, which is very convenient. We're gonna go in here. And this is another command room. In fact, I was just on this other side here, but got this really nice glowing table. Again, there's no chairs. It's kind of weird. I guess you just stand up and you have meetings or something. Again, the windows open up, and it opens up to this place where we were before. This right here is a great vantage point for attacking the enemy. There's a lot of noise, a lot of destruction going on. Right here seems to be the main command center. I don't know what all this does or what all these controls do, but it's really cool to see it, honestly. So I want to try to get back to where I was. I think... Did I have to go this way? I think I had to go this way. Let's see if we can make this work. Here it is. So this is the main base for the enemy. What I was saying, by the way, is that if you step on this, it will hurt your character. So don't do that. Now this right here is another command post. And it's very far from everything else. It's very far from the action. And I have to say, it actually kind of looks like a stage. Like, these are the lights, and you'd put the mic and the drum kit somewhere in the center here. This looks like a stage where someone would perform. But all in all, it's really a well-crafted map. I think we pretty much got through most everything. I like this design, by the way, for the hallways. It's really cool. It's, it looks like gold to me. Oh, look. This is what I'm talking about here. This room right here, I think, wins the entire competition for this map because this is the first meet-in table that I've seen that has seats. And these seats kind of look like leaves to a certain extent. That's very cool. So, I think I've shown you pretty much everything there is to see here. It's possible I missed some things, but okay, everybody. So, those are 3 Star Wars Battlefront II maps that I have explored, the same way that I explored Gmod maps. I was excited to make this video, and with any luck, hopefully I can make another one, because I really love doing stuff like this. And I hope for everyone watching, this has been very relaxing. And I just want to say, again, thanks for supporting the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all in another video. Alright, goodbye for now.